So today we're going to go ahead and cover our state of state certifications. We're going to dive into our career snapshot overview as well as some key findings we saw there. The different role highlights for some of our core roles. I think that'll be exciting information for you guys to see, as well as our SAFe role-based playbooks. But let's get started by giving it to Tamara.
Sure. So this is us here. And then we went through our what we'll cover in the next slide. Benita's uh, advancing our slides for us today. Thank you for that. That's what Shelly just went through. We're really excited to share this research. As Shelly said, I hope you guys are ready for the results from 2025. So one of the things that we were looking at is what is going on in our global SAFe community. So when we look at the things like the State of SAFe survey and the research we've done here around certifications in SAFe careers, one of the things that became really clear, next slide, Manita, is that agility is essential, but you are the game changer. So the impact that SAFe has had globally in the past 10 years is profound. And we'll go through some of the different aspects of our SAFe community that are really important and relevant to our SAFe community, to the impact that SAFe professionals are having in their organizations. But it's very clear to us from the research that agility is essential, and that happens through the people here in this community, the people who've been investing in their ongoing continuous learning and education and driving and leading change in their organization, using SAFe as a new way of working. So if we think about what's going on in terms of our environment today, it can feel, next slide, Benita, a bit chaotic. Right? If we think about all of the new technologies that are emerging from AI to quantum computing, if we're looking at the global landscape of tariffs and trade shocks and inflation, the markets uncertain, feel very chaotic and uncertain right now. But in the midst of chaos and uncertainty, I believe there is something new emerging. In fact, chaos is that. It's the creation, it's an opportunity for creation and new things. And I think this is our moment to really embrace our own agile transformations and make decisions on how we're going to respond to all of these new changes, the changing technologies and changing that is required to keep up with the pace of business these days. So, as we're working with our customers and our colleagues to really thrive and even lead this change, we understand one thing that's really important here, that this transformation, it doesn't happen through slides or software, it happens through you. Because as we see here, next slide, Benita, it's you who turn strategy into movement. It's the SAFe professionals in this community that are taking the ideals of lean, agile delivery and making them into practice and really delivering results for our customers. So, my invitation to you is this one. Next slide, Benita. It's really to take this moment in and take this moment as an invitation to really step in, stand out, and lead on. So what does that look like? What do we have that help you into act on this invitation? So next slide. We've been thinking about the next step with SAFe. So for many years, we'd had the initial ideas of our role-based certification and curriculum. And in this context of our changing marketplace and new new industries that are looking to improve their ways of working, we really have put a lot of thought into what that next step might be. So if you are new to SAFe or you're interested in maybe a career change at this moment, your first step might be indeed to certify, to really take advantage of the SAFe community by taking that first step. Your next step might indeed be to advance, to unlock broader roles or lead teams or lead safe agile release trains. Or you might follow a global trend that we're seeing, which is around specialization, really diving deep into an industry or a particular a tool or a type of transformation that you can be leading with SAFe. So that's really your opportunity to stand out. So we are very proud to announce in this next slide that achieving your SAFe certification earns you more money. So we're going to go through the research that led us to make that very bold statement. Shalane is going to walk us through how the comprehensive research we did using multiple sources that really allows us to stand on this fact that SAFe certified individuals have higher salaries than their uncertified peers. And as we look across the global landscape, if you go to the next slide, we do recognize that certification opens, our SAFe certifications open more doors to different industries as we see demand for safe experience and that the agile delivery skills globally. We see those increases rising in defense, healthcare, finance, manufacturing, energy. All of those sectors are looking for experienced professionals. So the SAFe certification is opening doors for you. One of the major milestones that we achieved this year, I was very happy to celebrate at our recent SAFe Summit conference in Italy was, if we go to the next slide, Benita, I wonder if anyone can guess this very important milestone that we linked to, which is, next slide, we hit 2 million people trained globally. That is a tremendous number of people that are creating, if we go to the next slide, are creating a global community. So, what does that mean? It means there are over 20,000 organizations using SAFe worldwide. And they're in a variety of sectors that we've been talking about, many of which are feeling the pressures to accelerate delivery, deliver faster, to be more efficient, as we see a lot of context around U.S. government in the U.S. government context to be much more efficient in how they're delivering. So just to put this in a little bit of context for 2 million people, there are an estimated 26 million people in software development roles globally. That means if you just take that one category of people, that we've reached nearly 10% of that global community of software developers in terms of SAFe training. That means SAFe has become a de facto way of working for these organizations, that you have peers and people who understand the language of how to deliver at scale, large systems across multiple sectors. So I recognize that each one of these stories is very different amongst the 2 million. And it is really a great pleasure and honor I have to get to hear so many of those stories and work with folks in our global community. And that is the impulse that we had in doing this research for our 2025 career report. So if we go to the next slide. Shalana will walk us through a little bit more of the research, as I mentioned, and kind of the ways that we came to creating, making these claims and codifying the research that we've done in terms of the salaries and the career potential. So if you would like to follow along with us as we go through the SAFe Career Snapshot, it is available via that link. And I think the final thought I have is a bit of an introduction for us today, has to do with you. Like you're attending this webinar, you're taking the time out of your day to really be thoughtful about what is the impact of my SAFe certification? What's my next step? So my ask to you, next slide, Benita, is to really be thinking about how you can build a career that leads through these times for yourself and for your organization and all of the different opportunities that are emerging from this relatively chaotic time. What's your next step? How do you lead through this change and really thrive? So, Shalena, tell us a little bit about the career snapshot and why we were so excited to update it for 2025 and what we found.
Yes, I would love to. Benita, if we can go to the next slide. We are so thrilled to talk to you about SAFe's second annual career snapshot. It was an effort born out of the SAFe community. We take the feedback you guys give us to heart. And a lot of what we've gotten over the last 12 months from professionals was a need to understand the value they bring to the organization. You want to know what that's worth, how you can develop or keep a competitive edge, even as an individual, and how to grow your own credibility, whether it's in your current role or in the job market as at large. So, what we did is we researched hundreds of open job listings. We looked at the open source data, we spoke to professionals, and all of this happened over the first quarter of 2025 because we wanted to ensure that we were bringing you the most up-to-date information as possible. And we very much feel confident in the findings of this study. So, though SAFe offers global framework and there are universal trends echoing what you'll see, I do want to highlight a lot of the data is US specific. However, we also use several international HR tools to validate that this trend was not just confined to the US. We're seeing it happen across the globe. We can go to the next slide, Bonita. Actually, we'll go ahead and dive into the key findings. So it'll be a couple of slides. All righty. So let's get into it. The first finding we came across when really analyzing the data is that SAFe professionals earn more. You guys heard this in the first half of our presentation, but how much more? On average, it's about $24,000 annually for the roles we looked at within the careers report. So to uncover this, we used an average of the highs and lows for posted salaries on all the open roles. Then we benchmarked the data against career websites and reviewed it with our internal HR team using their salary benchmarking tools as well. So, thanks to transparency laws in some states, employers are now being more upfront about what they're offering for salaries. And that really showed that being a SAFe professional could make as much as a five-figure salary difference when you focus on obtaining the necessary skills and certifications that are in demand right now. Now, I will give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek. So, we looked at this report and the data in Q1 of this year. We now have more updated data that says those numbers are even larger. And so we're putting together a document or a study really that tells you if you're in a specific role for the life of your career. So let's say you are a Scrum Master for the life of your career. Here's what that SAFe Scrum Master certification would be worth to you through a 20, a 30, or 35-year career. And like I said, it is a lot more than we named in this study, but that's going to be coming soon. So please do keep your eyes peeled for that. As we go to the next slide, I also want to talk about the fact that tech is still the largest employer of SAFe. So we saw this happen last year. We see it repeated this year, but there's a little bit of variance in the numbers. So technology does lead the way with 25%. We're also seeing the finance industry have a lot of opportunity for SAFe professionals. The same goes for if you're in the government space or even government adjacent with government contracting. There's a lot of opportunity for SAFe professionals. But a new contender is really the healthcare industry. We're seeing lots of opportunities, and it's really brought to life by our community. So by simply becoming credentialed in our Agile practices, it not only helps with job opportunities, but as Tamara mentioned, with our community of 2 million trained people, it offers you an incredible networking opportunity. What we found interesting about the tech sector being the largest employer of safe individuals is that a recent Price Waterhouse Cooper study found that 55% of people in the digital field or the IT field say they feel like they've missed out on career opportunities because they didn't have the right network. And quite frankly, I venture to say they're not the only ones. So, in a post-pandemic world, we are less adept at in-person meetups, personally and professionally. So, building a network of reliable people can be not an easy feat, but certainly a very valuable one. So, keep that in mind. But that healthcare was really a surprise to us, wasn't it, Tamara?
Well, it's surprising, and there's a not real opportunity here because the healthcare growth, I think, tracks with what we see as a market trend. But we also see is the healthcare folks who had been working perhaps in the IT shop or the software development side of healthcare, they begin to their colleagues in the medical device manufacturing are starting to be interested in how they're delivering and really getting the time to market business results that we see organizations achieving with SAFe. So there are new opportunities that are emerging as more of our hardware and manufacturing colleagues and that those sides of organizations in those global organizations are starting to be interested and curious about how do they apply this way of working for hardware delivery. So we'll talk a little bit more about how we're supporting those people and looking who are looking potentially to make a change and move to a different industry and specialize.
Amazing. We can go to the next slide for the next finding, Benita. This one, I think of all of them, obviously the career potential, the earnings are very exciting, but this one I think is my favorite finding of the report. We, just like you guys, hear about different certifications that are available in different roles, but what we found is that the SAFe certification stands out over Agile competitors. And the reason that's important is because when you look at jobs requiring or even preferring a SAFe certification, they're offering an average of 12K more per year than anything else in the industry, averaging for the exact same job. And what that does is it proves the value of earning and maintaining your SAFe certification. It still is the most widely accepted certification available. So as we go to the next slide, you'll see that we talked about the government space being a hotbed for opportunities for those who are SAFe certified. We did see that not only is it a hotbed, those SAFe certifications are essential for many of the government jobs being offered today. Two in particular we see over and over again. One is SPC, our Safe Practice Consultant, and the other is Safe Agilist. And that really does track because we offer lots of leading SAFe classes and implementing SAFe classes, but we found that it is the most popular among SAFe professionals and also among the market at large for when they're looking to get certified. And our last finding was another one that really did surprise us. I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of talk in the news and, amongst yourselves about the back to work or the return to office trend. We do find that SAFe employers are more and more increasingly valuing that in-person collaboration. So as you see here, the majority of SAFe employers, about 53%, are now requiring in-person work. When you compare that to the 22 and 25% that are offering hybrid roles or fully remote roles. And that is the highest we've seen since 2020.
Yeah, that's a really interesting finding. Shelley and I were talking about this, and I think it has to do with the intense collaboration via things like team syncs and the art syncs with SAFe. So there really is this value on how do we work together? How do we solve our problems? And it's being remembered that in-person collaboration can really speed that process. So we see that our SAFe employers, leaning into that trend. There was a time when all of these like big events, PI planning events, the recommendation was in person, and we see that returning more and more. So just a bit of a heads up on how our workplace is changing here with SAFe.
Yeah. So those are the top five findings we were able to uncover in the careers report. Let us know in the chat if you have any thoughts on those, or in the Q&A if you have any questions on those. Here you'll see another quote. We really do listen to our community. So we're constantly talking with you, hosting interviews with you. We want to know what you think. We want to know how we can help you. We want to know how we can make your certification more valuable for you. So please keep those coming on social media and surveys you receive from us, wherever you can. We are definitely listening. But for now, I will go ahead with the next slide and turn it over to Tamara to talk a little bit about SAFe certification.
Yes, we've been thinking, how can we continue to support our global community? What's needed? So one of the things is we look at the next slide is really recognizing the ways that the market is changing. So this Bain report from 2023 is still relevant today. So companies are looking for people who can be leading and responding to the change that's affecting them. So this idea that companies need more agile talent, that's showing up in all kinds of different industries or transformations. So we see a lot of what we see for things like SAP, HANA transformations, that the way SAFe as a way of working and a way of delivering on those transformations is becoming a new standard, and even the recommendation from that software provider from SAP itself. So SAFe, so it's recognized that these skills that you acquire in these SAFe roles and practicing SAFe inside of your organizations are the skills necessary to be able to respond to the changes in our marketplace. So if we look at the next slide, we could talk about a little bit about some of the ways that we have been investing in our certification. So I noticed that, so I was trying to follow some of the chat in the online here, and there's some questions about the SAFe certification, the Agile credentialing, and how we're continuing to invest in making sure that the SAFe certification is recognized in different industries and globally as a marker of knowledge and experience. So we're looking, as we look across our set of certifications, Shalina had mentioned that three of these are in the top 16 for the Agile certifications from co.org. And I'm also happy to continue to introduce this new certification around hardware. So I mentioned it briefly, but we started to see this movement into more of the hardware manufacturing space over time. And it's coming from several industries, not just healthcare. That was the one I was very familiar with, but it's also very true in defense. You see things like defense and the energy sector. They're applying what has been so successful for them in one part of the business related to IT and software development, and are moving very quickly to adopt those ways of working and delivering into manufacturing and hardware. So this February, we introduced our first certification supporting those types of professionals, uh, leading Safe with Hardware or Safe for Hardware with a SAFe Hardware Agilist certification. And as we look to what we're investing in for the rest of 2025 in this next view, Benita, you'll see us continuing to invest in SAFe for Hardware. So issuing more, we'll be releasing more courses to support those professionals at the team level and at the art level as they're taking advantage and applying SAFe in these new domains. So it's really the challenge here for these organizations is they've seen success in one part and they want to replicate that in hardware where the journey is really just beginning. So if you're an experienced SAFe professional and you're trying to figure out, well, what opportunities are available for me now, if you're interested in potentially making some kind of career change, these two industries, these two sectors, hardware, manufacturing, and government, we see a lot of growth here. So it seemed like there are folks interested in applying to new positions In these areas, we see demand growing for experienced people, experienced safe professionals, experienced folks in the different roles that help really deliver in these new ways of working. So, governments, we understand, and they're actually starting to recognize that they need to change their delivery processes. They're under more and more pressure to be more efficient, but they do have unique contracting and language specific to them. So governments are not necessarily oriented around business outcomes. They're oriented more around mission outcomes or citizen-centric practices. So those two are huge. You'll see huge investments for us. In fact, we have a major announcement, a big product launch for the government sector on May 20th coming up. So that if you're interested in perhaps making a step into that space, working in the government or government adjacent, as Shalene was talking about, there's demand in that area. Also new for 2025, we're continuing to invest in continuous learning and really community engagement. We do hear that you would like to connect to one another. It's fun to watch in the chat, people putting their LinkedIn links and connecting with one another. That's a huge need in our community, and we're making investments to improve the ways that our community can connect with one another and how we're really helping professionals continue to learn. So you'll see, you might have seen different types of notifications or announcements around things like SAFe Plus, where we're really investing in more asynchronous or e-learning to help professionals apply specific skills. So if they want to move to understand more AI ways of working, or they want to really take advantage of an opportunity in their organization to perhaps participate more in portfolio management. All of those are options for you to really continue to invest in your education and learning with safe skills. So that's what's coming in 2025, a little bit of a preview, as well as where some of the information that we see across the landscape and the marketplace where real demand is for our certified safe professionals. So Shalena, you're going to go through the different roles and kind of what we were finding role on role. And I think this is what a lot of the folks are very interested in, like what roles are really hot in 2025? What changes did we see since last year? Oh, I think you're on mute, Shalena.
Thank you. Very astute observation. We looked at the trends, so we saw what was happening in the market at large. Now let's get into some of the individual roles we cover inside the careers report to really understand how that applies to you where you are now. I will say we're not going to cover all the roles here today. We are going to dive into about 5 of them, starting with Scrum Master. If you'll go to the next slide, Benita. But the information you see here is information that is available for all the roles we covered when you download the full report. So let's start with Safe Scrum Master. If you're a Scrum Master right now, what we found is the typical salary range is about 99K to 140K, depending on where you are in your role. And the number of years of experience required range from about 2 to 11, with 5 being the average. We know the Scrum Master plays a crucial role in helping the team maximize their productivity and continuously improve their processes and really deliver value to stakeholders. This can happen in many forms, whether it is facilitating Scrum events, removing blocks and other impediments, shielding the team from outside influences so that they can stay focused on the tasks at hand. In your organization, it could be an operations person or a project manager, but essentially, this role is the key stakeholder who ensures the pace of work does not get bogged down with anything not included in the sprint. As we go to the next slide, you'll see just how many of them are asking for Scrum Masters to be certified. And brace yourself. because not only is it a majority, it's an overwhelming majority. Of all of the job listings we looked at, about 80% of them require SAFe certification or prefer it. There are also some that require just SAFe experience because they not only want you to be certified in that role, they want you to understand how that role fits within other roles within the organization to move everyone forward. So 60% of the listings we looked at required that you can demonstrate your SAFe experience. You'll also see information in the report that talks about different levels you may be at. So if you're not a Scrum Master right now, but you are trying to get that job and you want to understand a little bit more about it, the first column is for you. If you're already a Scrum Master, but you're looking for ways to grow, that second column of information is for you. Or if you've been a Scrum Master for a while and you're looking for ways to advance, that third column is going to address you. And like I said, overall, the careers report is talking about market opportunity. Here's the opportunity is there. Here are the recommendations we would give for you to move forward. But it won't go into a lot of detail. We'll talk a little bit more about where you can get that detail later. Let's move on to product owner on the next slide. I'm sorry, product manager on the next slide. One more. Okay. So when we looked at the SAFe product manager position specifically, they're making about 24K more than someone who is certified. I'm sorry, someone who is not certified at all on average. It's another key individual in the Agile environment, and their main responsibilities including gather insights about what customers want and need from the product and develop a roadmap for the product, really aligning it with the business goals. So depending on experience, a product manager can expect to earn about 148K with a SAFe certification. Without that certification, as I mentioned, it's about 24K less annually. And about 44% of those available job postings required SAFe certification. Additionally, 73% required demonstrable SAFe experience. Tamara, you had some other interesting finds about the product manager. Can you share that?
Yeah, so one of in addition to this huge jump, so I am also noticing this is product manager, not product owner on the slide.
Mm-hmm.
So we're definitely
Mm-hmm.
talking about product managers. What we're seeing here with this huge jump, it's corresponding to the jump with the salary is also just in volume of product manager listings, opportunities. And part of this is organizations focusing on how do we deliver value to our customers. So they're looking for professionals who can deliver in the context of scaled agile delivery, in the context of SAFe, in the context of a real tracking towards business outcomes and performance of the product. So the SAFe experience coupled with both the desire and the opportunity to move into product management is a huge opportunity for folks this year. And it's really outpacing other similar certifications because it's the product manager inside of SAFe works in that larger context of at scaled agile delivery. So that particular skill coupled with understanding and how to be a good product manager is in huge demand this year. So people looking for opportunities to build on their SAFe experience today, moving into product management, being able to really deliver on the promises and that the business is making to customers is really important. And this was, I thought, the most exciting and potentially surprising finding of the year is just the huge demand we're seeing here for product managers, SAFe product managers.
Yes. All right, let's move on to release train engineers. And it will be the next two slides, Benita. Uh, for RTEs, just the way Scrum Masters are servant leaders for the Agile team, the role of the RTE is of a servant leader for the ART, the Agile Release Train. They're really understanding in how to scale lean and agile processes. So despite having managing and organizing teams, the trains can't operate and drive themselves. That's the job of a good RTE. They're ensuring every team is following the framework processes and all the teams are working in concert to get to the destination. So continuous improvement. For RTEs who are certified in SAFe Framework, they can expect to earn an average salary in the neighborhood of 168K, while those under uncertified individuals can expect to earn about 20K less than that number. Of course, that 168 is on the high end. It's with years of experience, but the range is 117 to 168. What we're seeing is about 80% of the job postings did require demonstrable SAFe experience, and another 63% of the job experience also required or preferred SAFe certification as a release trained engineer specifically. All right, the next role we'll cover is Agile coach. They are the person who is helping the team and the organization adopt and improve Agile processes. They're leveraging their knowledge and their experience to answer questions, facilitate collaboration, and foster a culture of continuous improvement within the organization. For Agile coaches who are certified in the SAFe framework, they can expect to earn an average annual salary in the neighborhood of $147,000, while those who are uncertified can expect to earn 36K less, unfortunately. So the range for that one is 124 to 170K, with about 65% of the job postings requiring demonstrable SAFe experience, and another 77% of the postings overall requiring SAFe certification as an Agile coach. And the very last role we'll look at is SAFe practice consultant. So for SAFe practice consultant, they are the person who is really helping move teams forward, address challenges, assist in overcoming resistance, and managing the SAFe implementation or guiding on the SAFe implementation. So for those who are certified in the SAFe framework, they can expect to earn a range of 114 to 172K. That's about their average is 142K, which is about $10,000 more than those who are uncertified. When we looked at the job postings, about 81% of them did require demonstrable or preferred SAFe experience, with about 70% of them requiring SAFe certification and 30% for preferring it. So those are the numbers. It definitely was a mouthful, but like I said, looking at the trends in the report, it talks about market opportunity, looking at these numbers and, how many require SAFe experience, how much I can expect to earn. That's all specific to the market right now. But it doesn't tell you what you need to do based on where you are right now. So looking at the chat, I know that we have a mix of people, some who are looking for their next opportunity, some who are in an organization that they love, but possibly wanting to move up in that organization. We have developed a new asset that you will see on the next slide. One more, called the SAFe Careers Playbook. And what that playbook is practical guidance to really help you get from where you are today to where you want to be in your career. As Tamara mentioned earlier in our presentation, we have three focuses for SAFe professionals that we're really thinking about every day. The first is how to get you certified. So you already see what some of the benefits of certification are in terms of market opportunity, but we offer lots more benefits just for being certified, like that continuous learning that's going to keep you at the top of your game. We're thinking about that on a daily basis, and this playbook helps you guide that, helps you navigate that. The second thing we're thinking about every day is how to help you advance from within the role you're in right now. Whether you're someone who is looking to train in a different role, or you're trying to figure out how to leverage your skills to do more or take on more responsibility within your organization right now. And then lastly, but certainly not least, we're thinking every day about how to help you specialize. Is there deeper expertise we can offer you? How can we help you go deeper? You love what you do. You're able to take on more. You're possibly even mentoring others. How can we help you specialize? So inside these safe careers playbooks, if we go to the next slide, Benita, we'll talk about that for several different SAFe roles. So here's a snapshot of what they all look like together. But if you go to the next slide, you'll see we offer specific career paths based on where you are. So if you're not a Scrum Master, and I'm using that as an example, if you're not a Scrum Master yet, but you'd like to become one, we tell you a step-by-step plan of action of how you do that. And I believe we tell you how to do it within 30 days, if I'm not mistaken. If you're already a Scrum Master and you have some years of experience, but you'd like to specialize in that or possibly even cross-train for another role, we tell you what other roles are the closest fit to your role and what steps you need to take in order to move into those roles. If you've been in your position for a long time and you're looking for ways to be able to move into a leadership role, we tell you exactly how to do that and what learnings we think will benefit you as you move toward that path. So what I really like about these playbooks, or really love about these playbooks, is no matter what your goal is, we take a time frame, we tell you what you need to do in what time frame in order to be able to get there. And right now we're doing that for 7 different roles. So if that's something you're interested in, you're looking for some deeper expertise in how you can grow personally as well as growing within your enterprise, I would recommend that you download that report. If we go to the next slide, I do want to share with this group that advancing in your role is possible. We haven't talked a lot about our new advanced courses, but like I mentioned, every day we're thinking about ways to help you deepen your expertise. And we have available now 2 advanced roles. That's Advanced Scrum Master and Advanced SPC, with more advanced roles coming on the horizon. So keep your eyes peeled for that. If you go to the next slide and you're interested in downloading the playbooks to understand where you are and how you can take the next step in your career specifically, please do scan this QR code. We will also put the link in the chat to be able to get those. You're going to let us know which one you want, and we're going to email that right to you. So I've talked a lot. At this point, we're going to stop for a moment, take a look at some of your questions, and see how many of them we can get answered before the end of our time.
Yeah, there's a few questions here. Some of them are asking a little bit about more of the resources that we have. So Vikram was asking us about any of the useful or successful case studies in healthcare. So on the Scaled Agile .com website, there are customer stories, and I know there's 2 coming to mind, one from Philips Healthcare and then another from CVS, where they talk about their success in using SAFe to really turn around some of the problem divisions or problems they've been having in terms of specific deliveries there. So those are quite interesting. If you haven't had a chance to check out the customer stories, I always enjoy those. They're also, we feature in our SAFe Summits, our annual user conferences. We do feature quite a few customer stories, so you can log in to SAFe Studio and take a look, browse through the summit content. There are quite a few healthcare discussions on folks in that industry. So those are the resources that we have around successful case studies. Were you going to say something?
Yes, I see another question. I'm certified as a Safe 6 Agilist, and you list a number of certifications. Despite these qualifications, and with my ongoing prep for another one, I have yet to secure a position. Do I have any advice for you? Yes, I do. I would say attend as many of our community role-based events as you can. Within those events, there are so many opportunities to do networking on a far deeper level than even you guys are able to do in the chat here. It allows you to connect with other professionals who are in that role, even if it's one you want to be in, like an RTE or like a Scrum Master. And usually when there are opportunities, that's one of the places they're surfaced. Another thing we do within the forum is have a job board. So because you're certified, you should have access to um, our forums within Safe Studio. I would say visit that job board to see what's available now, as well as post the fact that you're looking there. We do find our community members tend to look out for each other. So definitely do all you can with the community events and the networking because it is going to make the difference. But just to state the obvious, it is a very, very, very competitive job market. We are aware of that. We even did see that in our research. And so that's what makes the networking all that more important.
Yeah, because it can help you. A great thing about networking and talking to folks is they can open your open your thinking about potentially different industries or a different way to approach job hunts. So there is a question here on career paths, like what career paths did we see? The example was, do Scrum Masters transition to RTEs or to product managers? Yes. So that was really that trend is really what was prompting Shalina to really try to put those paths together in the playbooks. So there is a very common trend actually with folks moving from Scrum Master to product owner. That's very common, or product owner to Scrum Master. So changing those team leader roles is very common. And we do see product owners and product managers, like that kind of blending. And then that I talked about that huge demand we're seeing this year in terms of SAFe experience for product managers who can deliver on the promises of SAFe. The other kind of trend and move we see, and it's described in the playbook, as you see, you could be a Scrum Master, then RTE. RTEs could move to product managers. RTEs also often get asked or invited to participate in more of the portfolio management. So taking on larger responsibilities around structuring the development across multiple release trains or portfolios. So both of those things are different career paths that you'd kind of mentioned. The other one, oh, there's one more I had seen from the research that was quite interesting. Is around the different opportunities that SPCs can take on. So there was a little bit of back and forth in the chat around Agile Coach and SPC. So we looked at both of those. Agile Coach is a really common role and title that we saw. So we wanted to share what that looked like versus SPC, which is a qualification that earns you two things. It earns you that professional credential, but also the right to teach SAFe classes. So that's specific and a unique privilege for SPCs. So those are some of the different career paths. If you're interested in that, I would definitely advise you to check out the role-based playbooks.
Stefan asked, how much of an advantage is there for pursuing the advanced safe certifications like for Scrum Master? Like I said, the development of these courses came directly from the community. And basically they were telling us we need deeper expertise. We're facing challenges that we felt unprepared for. How can we solve these? We need some guidance there. So I think if you are committed to deepening your expertise as a Scrum Master, and that's really about that specialization path we talked about, being able to attend an advanced course like Advanced Scrum Master is going to help you feel a lot more confident in your role, a lot more knowledgeable in your role, and to solve those challenges that have been tough to get over the hump. Benita, are you signaling we're running out of time?
We have about 8 more minutes, so you
Okay.
can as I mentioned, feel free to, if you have to hop off, there is going to be a recap email. Also, the links that I sent in the chat will also be in the email that I'll send to everyone tomorrow. So just in case you feel like, oh, I don't want to leave or now and you're going to miss out, don't worry, there's gonna be a recap of everything. So, um, but you still have some more time to answer some more questions if you like.
Okay. I'll go ahead with one from Tom. He said, you split out Agile Coach and RTE in your slides. How do you see the difference, especially as there isn't a specific Agile Coach SAFe role? The main reason those are split out is because we saw them being advertised in different ways in the open job listings. So we wanted to call out the differences in what the requirements are for each one of those, as well as the salary differences and other trends we saw in each of those roles.
So there's one from Stefan who's talking about that return to office work, and that Shelley and I were just talking about this too. So it's like, what does that really mean? You know, it does have, Stefan was noting, it does have advantages. However, given our global context, many teams are distributed around the world. I've worked on a lot of those. I continue to work on a distributed team. So how do we see these two trends going forward? Do they contradict each other? Yes, I think they do contradict each other, like most things in life. But one of the things about SAFe I think is really interesting is this the quarterly planning, the PI planning events are that opportunity to bring everyone together or to pause the normal work, go through a planning, and then really um, commit together on what we're going to get done in the next PI increment. So I anticipate, and this is very interesting because there is a difference between Europe and North America. The return to office is over. I mean, it's really very different in Europe. There's much less remote working than in North America. So it's perhaps just a trend in North America that we're a little bit behind, but the the impulse and that desire to be able to closely collaborate is what's driving those return to office conversations. Then the global distribution is another factor, which is kind of pulling people to work at the hours that are appropriate for that time zone. So I think Stefan is a really good question. I think there'll continue to be kind of a push and pull. If I had to have an ideal scenario, it would be like we're coming together at these specific planning intervals in person, and then we were working as is most effective for our time zone after that.
Well, I see that Rudd has asked a question. This might be an odd one, but I see a lot of people transitioning into the role of Scrum Master. How do I stay ahead? You would be representative of one of the members of the community that was looking for that deeper expertise or a way to stand out from other Scrum Masters, and you would be a good candidate for the Advanced Scrum Master class.
There's another kind of similar kind of question about the market.
Mhm.
I like these questions. They're so where we're thinking as well, right? So there was someone asking about, well, where is SAFe growing? You know, is it growing? Is it decreasing? So as I was mentioning those trends with 2 million trained globally, a lot of those folks were people who were taking advantage of these ways of working in terms of software development. Where we see tremendous growth right now, as I've mentioned, is in those spaces that haven't gotten to participate in the gains that we've seen in software. So software is leading to those hardware. So any kind of manufacturing and delivery where they're under pressure to deliver more frequently. So traditionally, if you'd worked in like large defense contracts, they could have multi-year delivery cycles, and that's not acceptable these days. We're really seeing a lot of demand in both those spaces, hardware and government, to really take advantage of new ways of working and deliver more and be more efficient. So I would say that's where we see things are really growing and expanding in those two areas, as well as if you want to participate in improving the ways of working, or your company is really pushing hard to gain more efficiencies from AI. So one of our colleagues actually did quite a bit of research into how do organizations take advantage of these new AI technologies? And it's probably not surprising to any of the folks here today, You need to have those agile skills because if you're locked into kind of a more confusing or more of a gated approach to different deliveries, you're not able to take the advantage that you would that organizations want to with these new AI tools, the agents, the different kind of acceleration that's been touted. Is you can't take advantage of that unless you already have this kind of agile mindset and inside of your organization. So that's we're be talking more about that in the coming months on how agile is a necessity to be able to participate in this AI changes in the AI way of working.
Let's see. There was one more that I wanted to get into. Um, can you share some insights on how SAFe can help you get into senior leadership roles? And that's something we go into in more depth inside the playbook, but based on what position you're in right now, we give you a step by step on how you involve yourself in strategy execution and even in portfolio governance. And from there, your next progression is pretty natural into that executive leader role. So you leverage everything you're doing to drive enterprise-wide agility to foster a culture of innovation and align with business objectives and customer value. But we go very deep depending on what role you're in into how you make that transition. So thank you for that question.
And I think this is the last one. So we'll give it to Matthew Harvey here. He asked a question. Will you ever do a report that's for more than North America in the future? So we actually in 2024 did update a career snapshot specific to India because there's a very large community of SAFe professionals and certified professionals in India. So I believe we're going to be updating that for 2025. And then we're considering which other geographies are really interesting. So Europe is a bit fragmented because the markets tend to break down by language in Europe. So we're analyzing that. If you have a favorite or you really want to see us do research for a particular locality, you can put it in the chat. And we'll put it in the backlog. We'll see where we're at. So we thank you so much for your time today. We are pleased that you stayed with us and we're so interested in the report and what we were finding in the market and in terms of SAFe careers. So we thank you. We look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thanks again, ladies, for the presentation and the webinar. As mentioned before, this recap of this webinar will be sent to you via email. So thanks everyone and have a good rest of the day. Bye bye.